Your Friday morning, Hillsborough police, they are still searching for the person who shot and killed a mother in her car outside an apartment complex.
27-year-old Dion Slider was shot and killed in her car at the Crest Ridge apartment complex a week ago today, with her 4-year-old child in the back seat. Yesterday, the community came out for a vigil, and Dion's family says they are now focusing on celebrating her life and making sure her killer is brought to justice.
So that's all I'm asking. I just need someone to come forward, whatever you've seen. If it's small, big, just tell it.
Hill County Crime Stoppers is now offering a $2,000 reward for any information that may lead to an arrest. And tonight from 6 to 8 at Mount Moriah Baptist Church in Hillsborough, there will be a visitation for Dion. Her funeral will be held tomorrow at the Central Baptist in Hillsborough at noon.
Well, a teen in the McLennan County Juvenile Correctional Facility is facing new charges after allegedly punching a correctional officer after, get this, he says he winked at him. 17-year-old Gustavo Jimenez, he was taken to his cell last weekend when he says one of the guards winked at him, so he decided to punch him in the face. The officer suffered a concussion and had to miss work for a few days. Jimenez is now charged with assaulting a public servant and has been transferred to the McLennan County Jail. Well, one of those bikers whose charges were dropped earlier this week in the Twin Peaks shooting still plans to show support to other bikers facing trial. Owen Bartlett was just one of the 13 biker cases whose charges were dropped on Wednesday by District Attorney Abel Reyna. Bartlett says that when the shooting started, he kind of just stood there because he didn't know what was going on and never thought he'd be arrested for that. He says because of the Twin Peaks shooting, he's been discriminated against and struggled to find work. In 2016, Bartlett filed a civil lawsuit against Reyna and others, including the police chief at the time. Those lawsuits are still open.
Let's take a look now what's making headlines elsewhere around the state. A Rowlett teenager is behind bars this morning after police found several suspicious items in his car. 17-year-old Diego Horta was arrested Tuesday behind the Rowlett Community Center when police saw him in his car with drugs, a club, guns, a mask, and 100 rounds of ammo. He was charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon and several other charges as well. His bond was set at $1 million. The FBI is now helping with this investigation.
Well, the college baseball coach who sent an email saying he would not recruit players from Colorado anymore because they can't pass the drug test has been fired. Yeah, Mike Jeffcoat was the baseball coach at Texas Wesleyan University when he sent out an email to a student in Colorado saying the university has made a decision to not take on any student athletes from the state. The university announced his firing yesterday, saying the email is discriminatory and goes against everything the university stands for.
To Houston now, where over 40 students were taken to the hospital after fumes made them sick. It happened yesterday at the Young Women's College Preparatory Academy. The students were taken to the hospital when they began complaining of nausea and headaches. The fire department believes the cause was possibly from tar work being done on nearby roofs. They cleared the scene and said no hazards were found.
Well, natural gas service is shut down to thousands of Dallas homes following a series of leaks that has caused multiple evacuations and a house to explode that, get this, killed a 12-year-old girl. Authorities announced yesterday that the gas service will be discontinued for up to 3 weeks to about 2,800 homes. Gas lines are currently being replaced and other work is being done by more than 120 Atmos Energy crews, who say that the recent rain and unique geological conditions have contributed to the gas leaks. And the little girl who was killed in that house explosion will be buried today. Her funeral is at 3 p.m. at the Hughes Family Tribute in Dallas. Her mom wants anyone attending to wear white.
To national news now, Equifax says an additional 2.4 million Americans were impacted by last year's cybersecurity breach. The credit reporting agency says an ongoing analysis of the data breach confirms that names and partial driver's license numbers were stolen. The original breach affected 145.5 million Americans whose social security numbers were compromised. Equifax says it will notify the newly identified customers directly and will offer identity theft protection and credit file monitoring service at no costs. Well, the president's plan to protect American steel and aluminum producers is stoking fears of a trade war.
Yeah, it sent stocks plunging yesterday as investors worry that everything from cars to appliances could cost you more in the future. Chris Pallone has details.
It's a blow to countries that send steel and aluminum to the United States. The president following through on a campaign pledge to impose punishing new tariffs.
25% for steel. It'll be 10% for aluminum. And it'll be for a long period of time.
The move, designed to make prices for American steel and aluminum more competitive with countries that produce them cheaper. Industry leaders say it will grow domestic steel production and add jobs.
I believe that we have to stop the bleeding that the domestic steel industry has experienced for quite a while now.
But it could make things you buy, like cars and washing machines, more expensive. That's what spooked investors Thursday, the Dow closing down more than 400 points.
The winners here are steel companies in the United States who sell steel. The losers are any company that buys steel. And that means they're going to pass those costs on to their customers.
The U.S. buys more steel than it makes. And while the president's words have been aimed at China, his tariffs could hurt Canada even more.
I hope the president doesn't really do this, because if he does, it's just going to be a huge tax on American citizens.
A calculated risk President Trump appears willing to take.
For decades is disgraceful.
Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
Meantime, today is also Texas Independence Day. The day celebrates the adoption of the state's Independence Declaration. This is the day about how Texas won its independence from Mexico and became a republic in the 19th century.
And great news for Fixer Upper fans. You don't have to say goodbye to Chip and Jo just yet, as they now have a new show coming out.
That's right. The Today Show reports Chip and Jo's new show, Fixer Upper Behind the Design, will air on HGTV starting April 10th. This new 15-part series features never-before-seen footage of projects behind the scenes. It also shows the full process of putting a home makeover together and will answer your own how-to questions. Well, what can these two not do? We were just talking about Magnolia Table. That's a big hit. It's obviously already hugely popular. People are devastated about Fixer Upper going off the air, but this is something to look forward to.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is, you know, we know that Joanna's pregnant, and that was a big reason for them ending Fixer Upper in general, is because of their family, and they have young kids as well. This is baby number 5 for them. But to see, you know, a different angle of Fixer Upper will be cool, and it's all already shot.
And I think a lot of people are curious as to the entire process. You see the show and it's just a 30-minute segment, and all of a sudden you see this beautiful house at the end. But for people who are really big fans, to see that process might be pretty interesting.
Especially people who are into the fixing up business now. I feel like that's become so trendy. People are taking it on as careers and then really doing.
It's a great business.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And Chip and Joanna are so talented. I love all the homes on Fixer Upper. I'll take any home of those homes. Anyone.
I don't know if they're just going to give those away, Heidi, but you know, it doesn't hurt to shoot your shot.
I'm first in line.
Up next, a new statue is sitting outside where the Oscars will be. Find out why and what's trending.
Plus, Megan is tracking the forecast on this Friday morning. We've made it to Friday. And get this, Megan, speaking of Megan, this is her favorite song from her favorite band, Coldplay, because lead singer Chris Martin has a birthday. Here is Head Full of Dreams. Megan's full forecast is next.